separate. Eventually, or like every once in a while, I do make a post about it. Hey, I dropped this item, or like, hey, check this out. But
Mm.
I'm not one of those people that just want to be. So I have my graphic design account and then I have my brand. I don't want them together because then it ruins the vision for the brand, and then it also ruins the vision for my graphic design
Why do you think it ruins it?
because I have a different vision for the brand. It's kind of the same style, but if you only look at my graphic design page, you're just going to instantly connect all of that to the brand, which I don't want.
Oh, understood. Okay, so the graphic design is like it's the overarching part, like that's the totality of your work, and then this brand you want to keep it insulated from anything else because it's supposed to be like a singular type thing.
Yeah, just because I don't want anything going on graphic design to like dictate or ruin anything that I'm doing with the brand. I want to keep them separate just because they have two different visions.
I see, I see. And what got you involved in that in the first place? Working with graphic design there.
It actually started back in high school. I took a graphic design class in, oh,
That's a sale.
sorry about that. Yep.
That's a sale.
So I actually started back in high school when I took actually, it was in summer school. I was going into high school,
Hmm.
but I took a graphic design class and then I just really liked it. And then I took a break for a year and then I saw that we were able to take classes in high school. So I'm like, okay, I'll try it out again. And then when I did, sorry about that, I need to turn that off.
Oh, you're fine.
But when I did, I really just fell in love with it. And then I took it again the next semester. And then that's when I started to realize, hey, I don't even want to go to college because before anything, I either wanted to do real estate or I wanted to do videography. So like making videos and things of that nature.
Hmm.
Mainly it's just like I wanted to start making content online just because I was a huge fan of Cole Bennett. I loved his art style, I loved his videos, and I'm like, okay, what if I want to try that out? So I started taking a class on video production. And then I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And then that turned into, okay, what else can I do? And then I took that other class in graphic design. And then that's what really like it just took off just because I saw everybody posting online, hey, I can actually make a living off of this. So then I started to post and it just went easily where I started to get commissions, I started to meet new people, and I really started to love it. And then by the end of senior year, I'm like, okay, if I can make a living off of this, I'm not going to college. Because if I was going to go to college, it was going to be for a business degree.
Hmm.
So I made a bet with myself. If senior year I can make enough money to live good, I'm not going to college and I'm going to double down on graphic design. And then after that, I just never looked back.
Right on. That's awesome, man. That's. I love to hear stories like that. Um, that you took a gamble on yourself and it actually paid off, and you came up in like the perfect time for it. Like
Oh,
literally the
yeah.
perfect time. You have a global audience of people that are endlessly wanting designs or just any kind of work like that done. So as long as as long as you're good, as long as the customer is happy, you can just keep getting commissions and commissions and commissions.
And then I actually started like in the beginning of this whole thing of like even graphic designing online, where I was looking at Duran Studio, which is a huge inspiration, where I saw K Midnight. I believe that's his at, but he's an amazing friend. Love him, love his art. He works for Ditch full time now, which is super cool. But he was also another like main reason that I even started to do graphic design as well. Just seeing these people really just making a living off of art and like enjoying it.
Hmm. That's awesome. So you were surrounded by people that were also kind of trying to make it in that same way.
Yeah. Which is probably one of my biggest helps in graphic design, I highly believe that if you want to make a living in graphic design, your biggest tool would be networking because other designers can not only repost your stuff, which help you get engagement, and at the beginning, that engagement is what you need. You can't just start off 0 followers and just do everything organic. Of course you
Mm-hmm.
can, but it's a lot harder. You can go into certain group chats, meet new people, and then they can connect you. Hey, this brand needs work. You have a really specific style that this person might need, things of that nature, where everybody just helps each other out, which is amazing. And at the beginning, I highly recommend if you're like doing anything graphic design or like anything online, really find group chats and network with people just because I know how far that'll take you.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, there's a surprising amount of people in just about every industry that I've like seen just from an outsider's perspective of people that are just willing to give you the time of day, like no ego, no bullshit, just like have a conversation, give you some feedback, like talk about, something that's relevant in that field, whether it's a new tool or what have you. Like there is an endless stream of people, it seems like, that are willing to give you just a little bit of space to be like, all right, well, what do you do? And then you just bounce
Yeah,
off each other. Oh, that's great, man.
which is
That's
something that I'm trying to do as well, just because I'm not really online as much, just because my schedule is full of commissions or like I have to focus on doing things for the brand. I have to sample things. I have to go out, photo shoot, this and that.
mm-hmm.
I'm not really on social media as much. That's probably why you've seen that I haven't really posted as much. I have a lot of work. I just don't post it, which I do plan on posting a lot more just in due time, just because I don't want to post random things that just don't coincide with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because one thing I did notice that you started to post was like we talked about this off cam.
Yeah.
You wanted to get into making content that would actually allow people to see how you're making the things in the style that you do and emulate that in a way.
Yeah, YouTube 100%. I want to double down on that. For shorts, what we talked about already is just like simple tutorials that anybody can do. And then my long form content for YouTube is going to be more in detail and a lot more complicated on effects, artwork, behind the scenes, shortcuts, things that I've learned over time.
Yeah, it's also good for like potential clients too, because like we said earlier,
Yeah.
like they'll be able to see your process and actually understand, like, oh, okay, this is somebody that knows what they're doing, because they're more than willing to give away their craft. Because like there's some people, not necessarily like in the art space, but just some people in just about every market that keep things close to their chest. And I understand the reason why. Like you don't always want to um, sell your secrets in a way, but if someone is open to just being like, all right, well, here's my process, here's how I do it, then they got nothing to hide. You know that they're capable, because anybody can take this, right, this tutorial, remake it, and be like, oh, why would I bother hiring you when I can just do it myself? But the quality of
Yeah.
your work speaks for itself.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It doesn't matter what you show them as long as you have a certain vision and a certain style to you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because people can't replicate your style. People can't replicate your visions. So you can show as many tutorials in the world as humanly possible. Yes, people are going to learn and they're going to get better at Photoshop or any platform that you choose to use. But that's not going to take away people or clients away from you just because by you having all the by you having all of these skills, you should know and you should have your own style that nobody else can replicate.
Yeah. And speaking of which, this style, where does it come from for you? Because this just reminds me of like really old, not really old, like early 2000s um covers of like punk rock or like grunge CDs,
Mhm.
essentially. Like that's the acid washed vibe is what I get out of it. How did you kind of settle on the style? I'm not saying that it's settled, but like where, like all these themes that
Like,
I
where
keep
did it
seeing
come
repeated.
from?
Yeah, yeah. Where did it come from for you?
It was actually from that, just like
Oh,
music that I listened to and like their cover art, and it's like, oh, I love this. I can. try to replicate it and then add my own style to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that sounds about right because that was the first thing that I thought of when I heard of it. I mean, I don't know how many bands still do this. I'm sure there's plenty that still do. Um,
It just gives me this like nostalgic feeling that I just love.
and I guess you thought that, and you were like, "Oh, I wanna make some of my own."
Yeah.
Okay, so you listen to a lot of death metal or like that kind of genre?
I listen to almost everything. Like my playlist is crazy. It's like one song is German, the next one's Japanese, and then it's like some punk thing, and then it's like music. It's a whole spectrum. Just because music is one of those things that really get you creative and change your perspective on the way that you actually look at things because they're all different art styles, which can change the way you just look at graphics, but not only graphics, but life. Because as a designer, when you're going out, it's like everything is a graphic. That tree, oh, that's cool. That gives me an idea for this upcoming project.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, that's one thing that kind of having to come to the realization of whenever like I've interviewing artists is that um actively participating in life, whether it's something as simple of just like having a routine that gets you out of the house, just anything that allows you to be exposed to more of the world, getting more input. Eventually, you're just gonna stumble on something like an idea, a memory that you had, a style that you saw, what have you, and then in the moment, like when it hits you, you're like, oh, I could take that and then do such and such and such with it, and then acting on that, building whatever that thing is, even if it's a rough draft, and then coming away with it. Like it's just spontaneous. You don't know where it came from, but all of a sudden, all these stars align, and you're like, "Holy shit, I got something here."
100%. Because I remember there was a time where I just didn't go out ever. I'm a designer. Why do I have to go out?
Yeah, I got my
But
laptop right here. I got my Netflix. Got my
yeah,
coffee. Why would I bother? I got Uber Eats. Who cares?
100%. So I ended up just staying inside, never going out. I don't, even now, I still don't really have friends just because I'm not going to say locked in. I'm not locked in, but I'm very into my work and what I make.
Hmm.
And I enjoy it. It's not like I'm depressed just because I'm here working all night. No, I love what I do. But you also have to separate yourself from that state of mind where you have to be in here and just work. Go out there, have fun, which is something that I still struggle with just because again, the people here are very traditional in terms of they don't really get content creation. So it's like if I explain it, they're like, "Oh, you're a TikToker," or "Oh, you're this and you're that." It's like most of these people, I don't even want to talk to them just because their mindset is completely different. You can't have a regular conversation because they don't understand what you're talking about.
That's interesting because I would figure that like by now that dynamic is kind of like the importance and the value of like social media as a tool for creators, that it would be widespread, not accepted, but that like people would at least understand like what it is that you do. Because if we think back to like what was design like back in like the the early 2000s or even the 90s, well, like I would imagine you would go to school, or if you didn't go to school, that you would somehow have a hookup through like some other artistic endeavor, whether it's like a musician that wants to use your art as like cover art or what have you. Um, but I would imagine that it was more like institutionalized, so you had like a set step
Yeah.
of things that you could follow. Um, but now with the explosion of the internet and all these tools, it's essentially a free for all. If anyone's good enough, they can make a decent living out of. I'm surprised to hear that. Yeah, that even in Oregon, that people still don't have like a comprehension of that.
Of course, in like Portland and everything like that, it's a lot more widespread, but when
Mm,
you're in smaller cities, it's kind of just people don't really get it.
Okay. So like generational towns, like people passing businesses on to their family, like
Yeah.
auto repair, gas station, like that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So what? Okay. So then what's keeping you there? Because I'd imagine there's quite a few areas that
Ooh,
you could live. Like you could be a digital nomad, as they say, right? Like, is it like do you just stay for like family or?
I'd say family, but it also just comes down to I like it because it's not like I go out and like have to talk to these people. I'm very reclusive, which is part of the brand, but
Right.
I stick to myself just because I know who I am. I don't really need other people. Of course, if there's other people that I like, I'd want them to join me, but in terms of traveling, I think it's still going to be the same lifestyle where I stay inside. I go get my Red Bulls, my mints. I probably abuse these too much,
Are those the nicotine mints?
but no, they're neuro mints, so they have like L-theanine and vitamins and things like that.
Oh, right on, right
Anything
on.
caffeine, anything caffeine is my thing. I probably abuse caffeine way too much.
Hmm.
But but in terms of traveling, wherever I go, I feel like it's still going to be the same. It's just a different scenery whenever I look out the window.
Okay.
Well, I do want to travel and I will travel more, but as of right now, it doesn't interest me. It doesn't pique my interest.
I see. No, I only asked because earlier when we were talking about getting that exposure of like what's happening in the world or just things that are happening like locally, it helps inform the creative process because without any kind of like external
Hmm.
input, it's very difficult to just sit here and come up with like original bangers just like nonstop. And um, being able to like bounce off of the creative energies of other people, uh, certainly at least from the artists that I've talked to, like it really helps them with their process. So yeah, I was just curious, like as to why that isn't like a primary motivation. Because there is like tons of places out there that I feel like would actually like fit your vibe. I'm sure there's like plenty of like towns in Europe where you could go that are just gothic as hell. They have like all the architecture and everything. Like it would just perfectly line up with exactly like the kind of world that you're producing there. Or even like places that are known to have like a lot of metal bands and whatnot. Like I'm sure there's some towns out there for you.
And I do understand that, but I feel like living in places like that will change your mindset because now everything's gothic. But what about every other thing in life? So that's actually another reason that I choose to stay here because I can create a world that I like and like want to create and then look outside and it's a completely different thing where I get more inspiration and I get more ideas out of that instead of just living in a very gothic place and then all of my artwork is gothic.
I see. Okay, so you would want to you want to guard your creative process against like certain influences so that they don't kind of get in the way of what you're trying to build.
Yeah, I don't want to keep the same style forever. So every once in a while, I'll change a few things up. I'll try new things just because I know that staying in one place isn't going to help you in the long run. The more uncomfortable you are and the more you try new things, the more you improve.
Hmm. I see. No, no, that's fair enough. But what is it? Because I know I asked you about this before, but just to clarify, what is it about this kind of this visual style that actually attracts you to it? Because like growing up, I'd see like all these like punk band covers and like all these T-shirts from tours and whatnot. Um, it was just to me, it was just like so not scary isn't the right word for it, but it was like it was unsettling in some ways. Not in a way that created fear, but in a way that was just very visceral and that I um couldn't really attach myself to. And that's not a knock on the style. That's just, my personal preference.
Hmm.
But what is it about like this style, this kind of like rust and flesh like combination, all the like the jagged lines and everything that kind of draws you to it?
Like, again, It gives me a nostalgic feeling. It reminds me of like retro video games, of like album covers and things like that. That's really the main reason. It also comes down to I just like the style. Whenever I'm in Photoshop, I always end up adding like a ton of textures. The textures are one of my biggest things I just love because you can make anything. You
Mm,
can make anything look good with like the right texture.
interesting, because there's a guy that I actually interviewed. You may or may not know him. He's on Twitter as Rashawn. He makes kind of similar stuff. It's less like, I guess, yeah, if I can reuse that word, gothic. But it's in the same kind of like
It's like a
vintage.
punk.
Kind of, yeah. He's made like quite a few like different offshoots of it, but what it reminds me of is like old ads that you'd see in the back of like gaming magazines or what have you, or even
Hmm.
like music magazines. Like there's this one cover that he did of Bjork, I think it was. Let me see if I can pull it up. Or yeah, like a cover of the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It reminded me a lot of like of your style in a lot of ways.
Hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, and he said something similar, like basically what you said. It's about capturing this nostalgia that he had growing up. You know, going to the grocery store with his parents or what have you, and just sitting down in the magazine aisle and looking through all these pages and wanting to recreate something like that. Because nowadays, like I honestly, I don't even remember the last time I picked up a magazine, but even the ones that I do pick up, like it just seems like everything's so clean, so airbrushed. It's got like it's not all like isometric or like just jagged lines. There's a flow to it, but everything is just so pristinely done that the only places where you actually find like designs like this, besides Twitter, will be like some indie magazine that somebody's like publishing out of their basement for like some like a handful of rock bands or what have you. Because you don't really see stuff like this anymore. That like early 2000s kind of like acid washed vibe.
Yeah.
But it's cool. What are you working on now? Because you said that you know that your style won't change. Are you like still in the middle of the current evolution, or where do you see it going?
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of it. There's a lot that I've tried, there's a lot that I like, but I want to be able to mix it all together. That's where I'm at right now, where it's just, I wouldn't say it's a complete shift, but you're definitely going to be able to tell a difference.
Okay. Looking forward to it. Do you have any like big collabs coming up with like any musicians? Have you reached out to any like punk bands or like worked with any of them?
Not really. I don't really do cold outreach. I know that I probably should, but I don't choose to do that because I want people to come to me for the work that I make, and I want them to look for me instead of just me coming to them where everybody comes to them. I want an artist to come to me and say, "Hey, I love your work and I want to work with you."
Hmm. So what is that process? If you could break it down, what does that actually look like from like starting out as a designer in this space in 2025 to try to like gain a following and then eventually rack up commissions and all that? Like if you could break it down step by step.
As if I were to start today, like restart everything.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
If I were to restart everything, ooh, that's a good question. I'd start with just making graphic design content. You don't even have to be putting out graphics. As long as you're able to teach somebody a new thing or show people different art styles, you want to build an audience before anything. So start posting as soon as you can. Start today and make graphic design content. And then once you're making that content, you can start trickling in your graphic design work, showing your behind the scenes, showing off tutorials so you gain trust from your followers. And then once you actually start getting commissions, when you're posting all of this, people are going to start coming to you because they like your style. And then you can start getting your testimonials. You can start to try to test ads, which is actually one of the biggest things that worked for me just because I started off when this whole thing was like beginning. Oh my gosh, I spent thousands on ads and they just worked. Nowadays, it is a little harder just because everybody knows that you're trying to sell them something. But as long as you have a good personal brand where you're showing people your work, who you are as a person, your style, tutorials on how you make your things, you gain a lot of trust through that. And through that, people are going to flock to you because they like the person that you are. So make graphic design content, show your behind the scenes, who you are, tutorials. I would recommend posting on every platform that you can. And then also just show your life, show who you are. Hey, I'm going to the gym, or hey, ask me a question. So you're actually talking with the people that follow you instead of just you're posting content you don't know who you're talking to. You want to be able to build a community out of it where you're actually talking with people and people like you back.
Okay, interesting. So you essentially you build yourself as a whole person online, and then the work that you put out, or like the commissions and that whole process of getting paid, that's just a part of it. But you got to
Yeah.
build this entire. Well, I mean, I guess some people could go as far as like build an entire identity, which some content creators do, which is like separate from their personal identity. But the point is just to enable as much trust in the process as possible so that when people do hit you up for commissions, there's no like concerns regarding like, are they going to screw me over, like how long is this going to take, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, 100%. That, and just have your own style. Know what you like and post content that you like, not just because somebody else said so. Post content that you like, and that's what your style is. It's your vision. It's what you like. It's what you create.
Gotcha, gotcha. And do you find that the market these days is like oversaturated? Because whenever I talk to like um people that like they have an idea, they want to start something, whether it's a podcast or design or like what have you, um one of the concerns they always say is like, oh, but like there's so many people already doing it out there. My usual go-to is like, okay, but like, so fucking what? Like, who cares? There's a billion
Uh,
writers out there, right? Like, does that mean like you're never gonna write anything ever again? Like, I don't, that just seems like stupid not stupid, but it seems self-defeating logic to me.
I don't believe in oversaturated anything, just because it's more so just either you're not good enough or you're just not putting in the work. I think oversaturation is just a coping mechanism for people to not try.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know it's oversaturated if you haven't tried, you haven't posted, you haven't made anything? You have to try and make sure you're 100% going all in because yeah, I just don't believe in oversaturation. I just don't think it exists. Sure, the competition is a lot stronger, but you have to keep in mind you're the only you. So your vision, nobody else has. Your life, nobody else has. So this comes back to posting yourself because there's no other you. So this whole oversaturation thing is just non-existent in my head.
Yeah,
There's
no,
not
yeah.
another there's not another you in the world. So it's kind of just like, how is that going to be oversaturated? If you're the only person with the vision that you have. You're the only person with the life experience that you have. What you've gone through, you can bring that into anything that you do.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, so sure, there's entire organizations, especially that are like based in LA, that are built on creating these like content houses, and people like min maxing the algo, trying to get as many hits as possible. It's like, okay, that they exist in that space, but at the end of the day, as you said, you have your own character, and everybody has their own unique perspective on just about everything they encounter. And one way or another, there's somebody that's out there that is more than willing to consume, the kind of stuff that you want to put out. So why not just go for it?
That's also a big thing. I get a lot of DMs saying, "Hey, what if I post artwork and nobody likes it?" There's what, like 8 billion people in the world. You don't think at least a few 100,000 aren't going to like that? There's people in the world that have similar interests. You just have to find those people. That's what the main thing is. Finding your people, finding your community.
Yeah, and at the beginning, it's always rough. Like you're always gonna get like 10 views, 12 views, 100 views, something like here and there. There's very few people that just kind of they start and they have a meteoric rise to it. Everybody has to start somewhere. I mean, like any of the greats, whether like in whatever field, whether it's art, cooking, what have you, like the first couple things that they did, like nobody cared for. They were shit, most likely. And eventually they just kept repeating it, repeating it, and repeating the process and learning through it. And they're like, all right, now I actually know what I'm doing. And then eventually there's an audience for that.
Yeah, and it gives you skills and it builds your character, which you can use later on.
Yeah. And I mean, comparing that to like a like quote unquote like regular job where like you let's say like you go to school to become a car mechanic, like there's not really anything there in terms of a barrier to like, oh well, there's millions of mechanics out there. Why would I bother being a car? Yeah, because there's plenty of people that fuck up their cars. Because there's an
Yeah,
endless supply of that. It's just not it's not something that those people even consider. But in the creative world, that's something that like artists kind of have to contend to. And I honestly I chalk it up to like any person that has like a creative output. There's always not like a lack of ego, but there's always this like self doubt that's present in it because the ability for you to just compare yourself to like the greats or like other people that you admire, and then you look at your own work and you're like, shit, that is nowhere near what they're doing, and I want to be at that level. So, like, why bother? Like that's just the
that's
common theme that I've come across.
yeah, that's one of the reasons that I started Louis Cedas as anonymous because nothing mattered. Because what if people don't like it? They don't know me, so who cares? I can post myself and what I want to make because they're at the end of the day, their opinion doesn't matter. I'm just posting, getting this out there, and then I just happen to find people that just really liked it.
Yeah, there's always going to be an audience for something. I mean, one of the things that I love to mention whenever like somebody presents that problem to me is like, okay, well, if you look at some of like the top like tier creators, whether it's YouTube or Twitter or what have you, it's very easy to spot like someone who just kind of like does the Mr. Beast thing where they rely on like the best like icons or like the best clips and short form content and whatnot. And there's so many people out there that are like, yeah, I don't want that. I don't want something that's so dopamine rich. That's something that has been like completely just min maxed to the point where like everything has been thought out of. I just want something organic. I want something real. I want something genuine. And there's a
Yeah,
growing market for that, especially with the growth of AI. And people are like, okay, well, this is nice, but I would much rather prefer to know that like someone with background and like doing this for 5, 10, however many years actually put their heart and soul into this.
100%.
Yeah, and we touched on AI a little bit there before. But what's your take on the landscape of it and how it affects the design world?
I don't think it'll ever take away anybody's clients or way of living if number one you adapt, which is finding your style that AI can't they sorry. So what was I gonna say? I'm so tired, dude. I slept for an hour. That's the life of a designer right there.
Oh, damn.
So back to what I was saying. I don't think AI is gonna take away your job. if you have your own style. But if you're using AI and just copying and pasting everybody else's style, yeah, it's gonna take your job. But that's the same thing with anything else. The only thing that you can do is adapt. Stop complaining. Oh my gosh, AI can do this now. Okay, cool. What are you doing about it?
Hmm.
So when it comes to AI, I know a lot of creators that use AI and their artwork is amazing. Some even better than mine. I'm not gonna say who, but there's a lot of people that use AI and like they kill it. But it's not like they're just copying and pasting that. They're still putting their own twist to it. They're adding their own style to it, which you're probably gonna see a lot more of just because of how powerful AI is. I don't really use it. I know maybe in the future I will for a few things, but I really just like being able to make everything. Something
Hmm.
about just spending hours on something just really is something, it's just something that I like. It's always been something that I've liked. There's a lot of things where AI does help. I will say it's a lot more convenient, or like whenever you're making content, for example, use AI. If you're not the best at content, say, give it a prompt of like, what content should I make? I'm in this niche. I want to find clients, for example. So people are going to be using AI a lot more, but that doesn't mean it's going to affect you if you know how to maneuver. And the way you maneuver, and one thing that AI can't replace is you. So as long as you know who you are, what you represent, what you stand for, what you're against is a big thing. Because I know a lot of creators that just say they like everything and they don't stand for anything. So in terms of AI taking your job, I don't think it's going to be much of a big deal if you have a style and you actually put in the effort. But if you're not putting in the effort and you're just using it as a tool to just make money and that's all you care about, then yeah.
Yeah, that's a very that's a refreshing perspective to have, because that's basically what some of the other artists that I've discussed about this with, like, it's a very contentious topic and how people feel about it and in taking jobs. But I agree with your sentiment there that it's okay, like, fine. It may mean that teams now become smaller, whether it's like for a production or for an album cover or what have you, because now AI can help automate a lot of these things. But at the end of the day, it also empowers people to, like, as you said, to have a launching off point with any ideas. Like, okay, I have this kind of a style. This is the kind of market I operate within. What do you recommend would be like a good strategy to go about it, or what kind of other like aesthetics should I look into? It just becomes yet another tool in your toolkit. And as we mentioned before, like, it puts a premium on anybody that is um making anything manual. Like, I've had this thought before where, like, basically any photo before around like 2018, I think that's when the initial models launched. I don't think it was Mid Journey, but I think ChatGPT had one. um any photos taken before that time automatically have like a higher, not threshold, but they have a higher sense of importance to them because you know they're real, because you know they're genuine.
Yeah.
Anything taken before like that certain date, like, oh, that we know for a fact. Sure, maybe photoshopped. Okay, that's a whole other thing, but um, definitely not AI generated. So it automatically, by default, anything that came before that time puts like a certain premium on top of that. And also moving forward, it puts a premium on anyone that's able to actually prove that their work was not used, or AI was not used in the development of their work. And as you said,
Hmm.
it's like you can sit here and complain, right? That, like, oh, like, this horrible thing is like, this tech is making it easier for people to not get hired in the industry. It's like, yeah, but is that because like your work is shit, or because like AI is actually this like major impressive tool? Because realistically, in my day to day, I don't really encounter all that many people that like really use it for, I don't know, anything besides like just like essentially Google searching. That's all that it's really
Hmm.
replaced. Like, I'll see like on Amazon, there's a lot of listings for like independent authors to use like for cover art and whatnot. Um, And if you're self-published, like, okay, I get it. You know, you're authors aren't exactly known for having a a lot of money. So if you're tight on the budget, like, why not? Yeah, be able to create a book cover in minutes. And then you're able to, you know, use that money further towards like your next book or your next project or what have you.
The way I see it, a lot of people just use it as an excuse to not try. Oh, this is like I hear things about drop shipping being oversaturated. No, I'd say this is probably the beginning of even drop shipping, where it's like I don't think e-commerce is gonna go down, but it's kind of just people wanting to make themselves feel better for not trying. They just make up an excuse to make themselves feel better about being mediocre.
Yeah.
Because if you're good at what you do, there's no such thing as something else taking your job, an oversaturated market, or things of that nature.
Yeah, because like one of the like the examples that I've heard is like where like certain Hollywood productions like the that Marvel show, I think it's Secret Invasion or something, where they were like among the first to create this intro to the show using only Midjourney, and it was like very very rough. Um, you could certainly tell that it was made by AI. It was in the same style as like those initial viral videos where like you see like the what mankind started as, like going from apes and monkeys to like going to this like technological thing, and it would just like have this psychedelic like scrolling through it, and
Hmm.
the AI would just like
I
generate
remember
these.
that.
Yeah,
I remember those.
yeah, those are really cool. But it basically had that style to it, and a lot of people like initially when it came out, I think it was actually around it was around the time of the writers' strike, I believe, where they
Mhm.
worked out like they can't make a show that's like 25% or more generated by AI. I don't even know how you do the math on that, but anyways, um, I remember like people were like really mad and upset about it, and in my head I was like, okay, sure, I could see how like Marvel or Disney didn't need to hire like an entire team for them. Probably had like a handful of people work on that, with edits here and there. Okay, but that then also opens up all those people that would regularly be working on this to go do their own thing, to go create their own channel, their own videos, their own what have you. It just allows them to now have those exact same tools. Instead, they can make their own thing. And if that thing is good enough and the market deems it good enough, then there's always going to be people that are willing to pay for it.
Mhm. You also have to think about they are businesses. Their main goal is to make money, so of course they're gonna cut costs.
Yeah, like if they don't, then their competitor will, and then they will lose their share of the market, and then that business goes out of business, and then all those people that depended on those jobs now don't have those jobs. So like, what are we arguing about here?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm genuinely surprised like when I tell people in my day-to-day life like, "Oh, have you used this tool? Have you heard of this? Have you heard of that?" And they're just like, "Nope, I have no idea what you're talking about. All I know is ChatGPT because that's the one that makes headlines." But there's a surprising amount of people that still don't know like about the utility of this tech.
Just because it's so new and every day something new pops up.
Yeah, it moves at like a rapid accelerated pace where like now the models are more light, they're smaller, they're much easier to use like compared to before. Like I remember remember seeing that meme of Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that when you were talking about the other videos.
Yeah, that was like some people use that as like the benchmark for like how good AI had gotten because initially it looked like this, which is just god awful terrifying. Um,
Oh yeah.
and then like not
Oh
even a
my
year
god.
later, we got something like this, which is still kind of strange. But I mean, the hands don't change the amount of fingers they have on them. And that's pretty good.
Mhm.
No, it's crazy. I'm excited for it, man. It's a great time to be alive to be able to enjoy this the kind of the inception of it because we get to be the ones that are kind of not dictating, but we get to like kind of negotiate amongst ourselves like where this goes and how exciting it is. Because I've heard also like people talk about the environmental impact of like using AI, and in my head I'm just like, okay, well I understand that sentiment, but if you're tweeting from your iPhone and that iPhone has conflict minerals, like what are we doing here?
It's really crazy to think about because just a few years ago we didn't even have internet, and now it's like we got Will Smith eating spaghetti.
On demand.
But yeah, it's really cool, but at the same time, a lot of people are scared about it. But it's like being scared isn't going to help you. So it's like, okay, what can you do? It's an insane time to be alive.
Yeah, you gotta be able to adapt. I mean, there was a time when like when cars were coming about. I remember I was reading an article about this in New York, because everyone was using horse-drawn carriages back then, and it like the maintenance alone, dealing with horse, like the amount of shit that was in the streets, the amount of like dead horses that would just keel over that people had to go and pick up, like it was just so much effort. And then when the car came around, people were like, "Oh my god, this is gonna kill the horse industry. This is gonna
Hmm.
kill the like whatever like the horse maintenance. I don't even know what the name of that would be. Like all that whole industry. Like oh my god, this is gonna be so awful for that." And then lo and behold, we transitioned and it's much better. Like I'd much rather live in that world where we actually made that leap instead of being
Oh
stuck
yeah.
with horse-drawn carriages and live like the Amish all the time. Kind of branching out though. Are you in any way involved in like the crypto artist space?
No, I've never even delved into crypto just because I don't understand it. I know a few things here and there, but if I don't fully understand something, I'm just not going to go into it unless I
Mm,
like really want to. But I don't really understand crypto and like the whole NFT situation. And plus, I've just never really been a fan of crypto. I mean, I understand it and I get the reasoning why people invest in it and things like that, but I don't know. I've never had that interest to dive in.
fair enough. Yeah.
Are you in
No.
crypto?
Myself, no. I don't even have like a single wallet or anything. But I pay attention to the scene. I'm working on getting something together because the problem is like I'm situated in Canada, which has very very strict laws against crypto and investments and whatnot. So
Oh,
the app
really?
yeah, the atmosphere here is much more different than it is in the US. A lot of people that are in Canadian crypto are directly incentivized to transition to the US market because it's just so much easier to operate there. Um, there's a lot less barriers and taxes involved in that. So up here, there's quite a few people that are like working on building organizations that are trying to like push for lobbying to make this a more open space, just because crypto is the
Hmm.
future. Um, but it's a little bit difficult here. But no, like I understand like the some of the like aspects of it in terms of the art world. Like one of the people that I interviewed a couple weeks back, Baku, she runs a gallery in Montreal, which is a city in Quebec. It's basically a digital gallery where they have these screens set up to showcase people's digital works, and they'll rotate like artists throughout the week, month, what have you. But yeah, so they basically have this gallery where people can go and see all these visual arts, whether it's like just a photo or a GIF or what have you. And they also have a market that they operate, or rather help artists operate within. Let me see if I can find some of the sales, because there's a lot of people that sell through them as well, or at least sell on, yeah, the Foundation. Foundation is the app for all of them. But yeah, so people basically put up their digital works for a certain amount of coin. This gallery operates specifically within Ethereum.
Hmm.
So they have all these little interesting digital works, some of which are actually like they end up being like physical prints, so you don't necessarily have to um, only buy the digital work. But Yeah, all I know is like there's a lot of artists in the space, a lot, and an amount that grows every single day. Um, and basically, a lot of the people that buy this stuff, some of them, yes, they do buy it just to flip it. But unless you're like a really, really, really popular artist, or you like catch some kind of viral wave with a meme or something, um, there's not really much value in flipping. So it's actually just a lot of people that are collecting it. So like just for their own purposes, they want to have this collection. Because once you buy this work, I don't know what the rights are around the like representation of it or reproduction of it rather. But you can like if you have it on the blockchain, if there was an app that somebody made like a metaverse, you could like post it in your house or what have you, or create an art gallery that's digital and you could just showcase your works. Um, Another aspect of it is that some NFTs, like you would have heard like news stories about celebrities buying NFTs, and
Yeah,
that's a little bit different because so those like NFTs, like the what is it, the Bored Ape Yacht Club,
Bored
I think.
Apes, like
Yeah,
Pudgy Penguins. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So from my understanding, these NFTs are less so of like artistic pieces, obviously, because they're literally like they look like they're randomly generated. From my understanding, these NFTs are actually used as kind of like your ticket in to this new space where you can then meet people through the events and all the other different things that they launch as an organization. So that if you're like somebody that wants to develop an app on the blockchain, having an NFT allows you to be close to people that are like uh, venture capital or other developers or just other people in the space. It essentially gives you like an additional networking tool. And you know that the people that are in that network, they understand NFTs, they understand the landscape. So you'll already kind of, it's not like joining a Reddit forum, where you're like, you don't know like who's from where or like what their capabilities are or how smart they are, like anything like that. You buy an NFT, you get into this club, you understand like the kind of caliber of person to an extent that's going to be there.
see, like those I do understand because there's a point where you're networking, but
Mm-hmm.
then there's like the NFTs where you were just talking about, like the art pieces. To me, I kind of just see it as like, oh, just take a screenshot and now it's mine. I'm like one of those people because it's
Yeah.
like, yes, you can prove that it is yours and things like that, but it's just an image on the screen. But like the Board 8 Yacht Club, I do understand because you're meeting people that number one can afford them, and number two that are of value in terms of who they are, what they do.
Yeah. For my understanding,
No,
in terms of like, yeah.
no
No, but
shade to
yeah,
anybody that does like NFTs. Like, do your fucking thing. Oh, can I cuss? I
of
cuss a
course.
lot.
I've been cussing this whole time,
Oh,
bro. You're good.
perfect.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
my
good. Yeah,
gosh,
you're good, bro. An
I
hour
cuss
in, and you have a.
so much.
Yeah, we're fucking good, dude. We're golden.
Oh, thank God, bro. I was literally trying not to cuss the entire interview.
No, you're good.
I
You're
cuss
good.
so much. But what was I saying? Oh, no shade to anybody that does like NFTs. Do your thing. I love it for you. But just it's just not something that I understand. So I'm not gonna dive into something that I don't understand. But if you do it, do your thing. Make your money. Have your fun. Because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of people that I do know and do it. Like they try to like inform me about it. It's like, bro, I still don't get it. It's a picture on a screen. Take a screenshot. Now it's mine. That's the way I see it. But hey, you do you.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. I figured I'd just throw it out there just because it's like it's yet one another like aspect of like the digital platform that
Yeah.
you can use to kind of get your stuff out there. Because like they'll take like these NFTs and they'll like post them at like crypto conferences. So people that aren't necessarily going there for the art will see your art and like create bidding wars on it and buy it and whatnot. It's just yet another like possible revenue stream. So people that like
Mhm.
really like the piece and they want to be able to own a portion of it or own like a mint of it, they get the opportunity to do that. Because
Maybe one day I'll dive into it just for fun. But as of right now, no. But it is a really cool concept. I will say that.
yeah, it essentially just it's yet another way that artists are liberated from traditional like paths. for posting their art,
Hmm.
because the collector, well, not the collector, but the artist that I spoke to that has the gallery, Baku, she mentioned that like they've tried or she's spoken to artists that have tried to like get their stuff posted in a gallery, like like if it's a physical work, like on canvas or a statue or like what have you, right? So it's an actual physical piece, and then the moment that the gallery
Yeah.
finds out that they operate within the NFT space, they're like, oh yeah, we don't want anything to do with you. Like we want absolutely nothing
Really?
to do with, yeah, because they're just like, there's a lot of people that are in the art world that are just not down for that at all. They're very guarded about it, which I understand to an extent, but it's like this is the way of the future, man. Like it or not, this is happening. So
Hmm.
you're either part of it, or you're just trying to like stop this tsunami from rolling over. Like what good does that bring anyone?
Yeah.
Because like the thing with NFTs, like you can have your work put up anywhere. You don't have to worry about transporting it. You don't have to worry about um, having to showcase it in a specific way. As long as they have the screen, you can just put it up. No problem. No questions
Hmm.
asked.
But yeah, it's a really cool concept. I like the concept. I just don't understand it enough to like really get into it. Eventually, I probably will get into it, but as of right now, no.
Fair enough. And now this clothing brand that you have there, um, is this like the only brand that you have? Because you mentioned like anonymity. Do you have like other things that are just flowing out in the web out there?
That's the only clothing brand that I have. But I work for a bunch of clothing brands, so of course I do work for them, but my brand is that. Just because it actually means something to me. Like you can click on our story to like get like a feeling of it or like why I made it.
Yeah, at Recluse, we believe being true to yourself is the ultimate form of freedom. Our mission is to encourage authenticity and embrace living life on your own terms. Right on.
And that's just like what I like to embody, just like being me, choosing not to go to college because I wanted to bet on myself and like making art that I like, not because of other people's opinions on it. Things like that.
Yeah, fair enough, and I don't blame you, man. College in the States seems way more pricier and more of an intense decision than it does here in Canada, at least.
I mean, I love people that go to college. That's amazing. Do your thing because you want to do it. Like lawyers and doctors, of course. Yes. But there's a lot of people that just go to college just because their parents say so, or just because they think a degree is going to make them feel better about their situation. Like, I know a lot of people that went to college, they don't use their degree, and and if they do use their degree, they don't even like the job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like college is a very iffy thing for me because if you're doing it for the love of the job that you're going to do, I'm all for it. Or like let's say you get scholarships and you don't have to pay to go to college. Oh yeah, go have your fun, do your thing. But if you're going to college just because somebody else told you that you need to go to college, then that's where I'm kind of like off put.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I fell for it. I
What
fell
did you
for it.
study?
I went to the University of Ottawa, which is capital of Canada, to study. So initially English, because that was based on my grades. That was the only thing that would let me in.
But you speak it
Uh,
so well.
I- right? You would think so. No, like English. The program is mostly focused on
Literature
writing.
or
Yeah, yeah, basically like English lit. Yeah, yeah. So not like a language program. But no. So like I initially went in for English because that was how I'd get accepted, and then I transitioned to a whole slew of things. I basically did like a general liberal arts degree. So I did like philosophy, psychology, sociology, anthropology, history, like just the whole. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no idea. I went in thinking like, all right, well, this is the
like
place
you were gonna
for.
figure it out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went in thinking, well, okay, I don't have a job lined up. I'll figure it out. No big deal. I'm only like 19. I can I'll see what's going on, and then I'll make my way
I
in the world.
remember being in like junior year and I was stressed out. Like, what am I gonna do
Oh
with my
yeah.
life?
Oh yeah.
Big time. That I was damn near depressed, and that's when I started Louis. Or actually, you can go to a post on Louis Cetus on Instagram. I actually I can probably send you the link, but if you read it, you'll be able to understand on why I made or created Louis Cetus. It's the one with the computer on it. See if I can send it to you. Actually, that thing is down there, isn't it? Let me see if I can pull it up.
Oh yeah. Is it? Oh no, that's not it. Oh.
I think you keep going down. Keep going down? No,
That's
that's a
a
different one.
that's the limit. Yeah.
Oh, it's because it's lagging here. So it's like I view it differently.
This one, right?
Yes. It's like lagging on the screen, so I have to wait like a few seconds to understand it.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, that one.
Okay, let me just read this out. I created Louis Cetus. Louis is an image slash character I created in my head, the ideal person I've always wanted to be. I have finally become Louis Cetus, hence why the persona of him is gone, because I've become my dream self. Louis Cetus is suicidal, but the SNL are switched, signifying making my supposed ending my new beginning. Designing saved my life. If it wasn't because of it, I don't know where I'd be. I made this piece super distorted because it signifies how I viewed life in that time, blurry, gray, distorted. One day I hope I can truly explain the power each of you have on my life. I truly appreciate all of you. You have changed my life and how I view living. From the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate each and every single one of you. Right on.
I think, dude, that posting that, I think I took like a week just to post it just because it was so close to my heart, where it's
Mm.
like, do I post it? Yes, no, how are people going to view me? It's like, no, these people really built the person who I am today. They deserve to know. And then I posted that, and it was like, I got a sigh of relief as well, because it's like I put my life and I put my heart into this piece, and then seeing people comment, seeing people, seeing people's DMs, and it's like it like lit up my day, and that really started a fire, dude. Just instantly just fell in love with it even more.
Right on, man. That's a yeah. That's a hell of a beautiful sentiment there, because it's as you were saying, like being at that young age and having to essentially be forced or seemingly forced. You have this perception that you're being forced to make a decision that's going to affect your entire life, and not realizing that, like, yeah, your life is going to change in like so many ways before you're even 30, let alone 40 or 50. And
Oh yeah.
there's
And one
not,
year,
yeah.
that year after high school was insane. Just because you have to realize, hey, life is gonna be okay. It's gonna kick your ass, don't get me wrong, but like life is still gonna keep moving forward. Everything's gonna be okay. The people that you knew in high school, you're not even gonna see them anymore. They're gonna go
Mm-hmm.
to college, or even in your day-to-day life, sure they might still live in the same place, but you never see them. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember the last person from high school I saw, and it's been years. So those people and their opinions that you thought mattered in high school don't matter in the real world. In the real world, and that's another comforting thing to me, where it's like nothing matters but yourself. The way you think about yourself matters the most.
Yeah, it's quite the shock when you come to realize that, because it a lot of the things that you were told matter so much, like your permanent record or your grades or like what have you. It all just gets evaporated one way or another. Because even like as someone who like bought into that and then went to uni, and I realized like 2 3 years in, I was like, oh, like none of this, like realistically, none of this matters. Even what I'm doing in university, like unless you're doing groundbreaking research and you're discovering like new atoms or some shit, like realistic, like it doesn't it doesn't really matter. Like the amount of
Yeah,
stress and like time and effort that I like put into all this stuff. Like, dude, I was fucking not gonna lie, I was having panic attacks in university, like over
I used
stupid
to
shit.
have severe panic attacks all throughout high school. I had what was it? My mind is going blank right now. Oh my gosh. But I had social anxiety. Terrible social anxiety.
Oh
So I
yeah,
was like passing out. There was one time I had a seizure. It was terrible. It
yeah.
was
No,
insane.
it's a crazy thing to put adolescent kids through when
Hmm.
only in a couple of years you realize that, oh, like I just, as long as I remain flexible, like I'm gonna be fine. At the end of the day,
Hmm.
it's like it's okay, fine. So what? For a moment of time, I gotta like live in a shitty apartment and like wash dishes for a living while I hone my craft and then figure it out. Like, yeah, that's just a part of it. It's not
And everybody else is doing the same thing. It's
exactly.
just that in your head, you're the only person. You see, in your head, you see everybody succeed on social media, and then you realize, hey, you go meet this person. He's not living the same life that he's posting on social media.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of these people are going through their own shit, their own life. They probably have the same thoughts that you do, but in your head, you're the only person that's going through these things.
Yeah, or I'd see posts of like old high school classmates that are like, oh, I'm doing an internship here, or I'm like on vacation in Bali or what have you, and I'd just be sitting there in my shitty apartment eating like fucking toast with butter
Hmm.
or whatever the hell.
Uncrustables. Oh my god,
Yeah, or like
Uncrustables.
Uncrustables. Yeah, pizza pockets, fucking ramen, everything. Um,
Hmm.
my roommate and I, we used to do, we buy I don't know if you might have these in Oregon. I don't know why you wouldn't, but Jamaican patties. They're like a staple here
I've
in
heard about them, but I've never tried them.
oh, pristine, ideal. They're delicious.
I'm
We
missing
buy.
out.
Oh yeah, you're definitely missing out. Yeah, yeah, it's great. If you
I'll
can
put that
find a
in my
Jamaican
notes.
spot,
Jamaican patty.
yeah, yeah, Jamaican patties. They're so good. Um, but no, we'd buy a case of 20. They were frozen, and, and then that would be like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for like a
Oh
good week or
my,
so. Yeah, it was awful. It was delicious.
that looks good. I will say that.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome. Let me actually, you know what? Let me see if I can find the actual the box. No, no. Yeah, these right here. Yeah. Yeah, we used to buy
Give me like
these.
15 seconds while it loads for me. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking delicious. But yeah,
I
I'd
thought it
like
was like a hard shell taco at first.
uh yeah, a little bit, but like the bread is like really flaky, and then it's better in the oven than the
Mm.
microwave because the microwave makes it all soggy. So you definitely
It's
like if,
soggy. Yeah,
yeah, you want it nice and crisp.
you want it pristine.
That's right, that's right. But yeah, like just eating like shit food or working shit jobs, and I'd look at my social media feed and I'd see all these people having a good time, and it was only like a couple of years after that that I realized like it, that is, first of all, that's a persona that they're putting up. You're not seeing all the like effort and like everything else that's behind that. That's just like something that they're putting up on social media to get likes or what have you. And then also too, like yeah, they have their own problems. You don't know what's going on in their life, so trying to compare yourself to that is just, it's fruitless. Like the best quote that I've heard on it is like that comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it's a tough mentality to get out of, but once you do, it's so much more liberating, and it makes life so much easier to deal with. Like I remember one time I had a panic attack because I it wasn't even for a class that like a grade counted for. I was sitting in a fourth year class, like I audited it because I knew the professor, and I really wanted to go and see like how far sociology could take me. And so I was like, screw it, I got a free class, like I'll take it, I'll audit it. And there was a presentation that we were working on with my classmates, and the day before I was procrastinating and I didn't like get a lot of work done. So in the morning I just get up, it's like 5 a.m. The birds are tweeting. I like quickly chug some coffee or Red Bull or whatever, and I just start getting to work, and the slides just weren't like lining up, or the text was wonky, or like I was forgetting my lines. and it just all this stuff was just piling on top of me, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell am I doing?" And for a moment, like I couldn't catch my breath, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I go to the window, I just start taking deep breaths, I calm down, and I was like, "This is not a normal state to be in as a student. Like I'm not going into war. Like I'm not. I'm,
Yeah.
these aren't like the quarter earnings reports for like a major bank, and like people's heads are gonna roll if I don't get this right. This is just a class whose
But that's
grade
how it
doesn't even
feels.
matter. Yeah, that's how it feels. Yeah. No, it's an awful place to be, and I wish I had learned that lesson much earlier than I did. But whatever, such is life. C'est la vie.
Yeah, I remember I started to start reading books, so a lot about like mindset, which was, I'd say, it drastically changed my mindset. And drastically changing my mindset, it changed everything in my life and the way I perceived it. So it's like books like The Power of the Subconscious Mind and like very like self-help books, which I would recommend reading some of these books. Is truly changes your perspective on things. The power of your subconscious mind pretty much like explains the difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind and the things that you say in your head, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real or fake. So if you're saying bad things about yourself in your head, whether they're jokes or not, your subconscious mind takes them as facts.
Hmm.
So it's like, oh, I'm fat, I'm not good enough, I'm this and I'm that. It changes the way you perceive life because apparently there's been studies on your subconscious mind and the power that it has. So whenever you say positive things, you bring those positive things into fruition. And I've used the power of the subconscious mind in terms of just the way I operate. Like in the morning, I say my daily affirmations and things like that. And I'd say over time, you do see a difference just because your mindset is a lot more positive when you're telling it positive things.
Hmm.
Because I remember when I was like damn near depressed, the things that I was telling myself were horrible. And then once I changed what I said to myself, my life changed. So getting into reading self-help books was a really good decision that I made early on. So I probably recommend some of these books. I have a ton written down on my phone that I still have to go get. But I'd say the biggest thing, like in terms of success and like life, is your mindset. The way you see things, the way you perceive things, the things that you say in your head that you don't say out loud.
Hmm. No, absolutely.
But yeah, I'd say I'd recommend that book a lot. I really liked it.
No, absolutely. It's a lesson that I've had to learn as well. Is that it one way or another, like there's no escaping the problems of life. They're gonna happen. So if you're not in a mental place to be able to deal with that, like it doesn't matter how big like the struggle is, whether it's like paying rent on time or making time for personal relationships or just your own personal ability in your field. If you're not able to handle those crises and you just shut down every time, well, like that's going to reverberate through every single aspect of your life. And the moment that you kind of fix that like initial building block of your like immediate reaction to things, or whether you're quick to anger or self-hatred or what have you, the moment that you fix that, like everything just becomes so much easier, because then you believe that you're capable of handling whatever comes next. Like if I have these days,
Yeah.
if I ever find myself in that kind of a situation, I think, well, I've been here a billion times before, with worse circumstances, and I've beaten the odds so far. So one way or another, like unless this is gonna kill me, I think I'll be fine. Like at the end of the day,
Hmm.
it's not worth losing your head over, because the next day you get up, it's another opportunity to right whatever problem you have going on. And that, like, no matter how bad the struggle is, like I have a I'm initially I'm my background is Russian, so my family grew up in the Soviet Union, and there's a lot that I look back on in like my family history where I'm like, okay, if they were able to make it through like 2 world wars,
Yeah.
right, and my family lineage got me this far, I think I could handle like like a small personal issue or like a disagreement or like what have you. Like I think if
Hmm.
those people manage to do that, I think I can handle whatever it is that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Right
For me,
on.
it's just I've just mastered the art of just not giving a fuck. That's my thing. A lot of things in life don't actually matter. You have to realize that. Like,
Hmm.
for example, or you think that things are gonna drastically change your life and ruin it, but you step back and realize, does this even matter? I mean, at the end of the day, we're all gonna die eventually. So it's kind of, is that is this thing really gonna drastically change my life? Or is it just gonna be painful for like a week?
Hmm.
You have to think about life is long. It's short in terms of 100 years, maybe that's short to some people. But you also have to think about that's still 100 years. You're like 15, relax.
Yeah, the scope or like the scale of that problem when you're in that mindset, it's not nearly as big as you make it out to be. Like going into university, I'd failed my high school English exam in the winter, and in the winter was when they were about to start finalizing the grades so that they would send them over to the university for your applications here. And after having failed that exam and like thinking that I'd go into English for university, all I could think was like, oh my god, if I failed a simple English exam in high school, how could I ever think that I would like be able to get into university for that program. Not having realized it's like, yeah, it's just one exam, you dummy. Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't like it doesn't mean
And I
anything.
feel
I don't
like
even I don't even remember what was on the exam, but at the time I was so stressed out. It was killing me.
that's kind of like blaming the teachers though, just because teachers they overdo it in terms of, oh, college is not going to be the same. It's like, yeah, it was easier. I've heard. I haven't gone to college, so I'm just chatting shit.
It is.
But like, I
It is.
everybody that I know is literally just like, yeah, my teachers were fucking with me, bro.
Yeah.
That shit was easier.
Yeah. It's easy to forget that sometimes, but like whatever that next step is, whatever pain that you have to go through, it's a part of the process. And the quicker that you are to realize uh that even if you do fail, that even if this blows up like spectacularly in your face, even if this ends up going nowhere, like okay, but if you have your health, you got your family, you got 4 limbs, you got the
You still have a
opportunity to
lot
get a
more
job.
time.
Yeah.
Even just 1 year, you can change your entire life in 1 year. But it depends on what you do. Because if you're just repeating everything the same day, you're not making changes and modifications on the way you live, of course you're not going to succeed. But if you're every day focusing on a certain thing, every day you're changing, you're evolving as a person, then you don't really have anything to worry about.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I've come to realize is that all that like all that corny shit that like our parents and like teachers told us at the beginning about like having like good habits and being consistent and all that, like that actually that's what matters above everything, because unless you work or you operate in some kind of a field where the results are black and white and where like success and fail is a clear indicator and there's a lot riding on either option, most of us are operating in the rest of the world, which is just shades of gray. There's not really
Hmm.
a right or wrong. There doesn't have to be a 100% or 0%. It's just there's a sliding scale that all these issues go on, and the more that you see the world through that lens, it's just the easier everything else becomes. If it's a zero sum game, then yeah, obviously, like in some situations, it certainly is. If you have to make a deadline or what have you. But for the most part, like yeah, it's so much easier than we make it out to be. There doesn't have to be this much like emphasis or stress placed on these certain things.
Most of the time, you really just have to step away for a second and like realize that. And then that stepping back allows you to rethink everything. And then the freaking, the problem solves itself.
Half the time, yeah, Yeah, half the time, like there have been moments where like when I was in university and I'd be like stressing over deadlines, and I didn't even consider the fact that I could just ask my professor for an extension, or I could like reach out to someone for help. And just looking back, I was like, oh, like that was an idiot move. Like, why did I have to put all that stress on myself? And no, you're definitely right. Like, in a lot of ways, university is actually a lot, um, or college for you rather. It's a lot easier than than some people make it out to be. I mean, it depends what you're going in for,
Hmm.
obviously. Um, but
Like
typically for
lawyers and
like
doctors, I understand it,
yeah, yeah,
but yeah, it's just that in that certain spot, you just overthink it. Your freaking mind's going 1,000 miles an hour.
yeah. It's very easy to get caught up in that, especially when there's like a lot of financial pressure as well. Because in the states,
Hmm.
it's a lot more like the school and student loan system. It's a lot more not predatory wouldn't be the right word for it, but it's a lot more invasive in people's lives I find than it is here. Like student loans are
Yeah,
the only thing that they can claw back like out of your wages, and there's also no like loan forgiveness from what I understand too.
yeah. I'm not really all that into it just because I didn't go to college, so it's like to me it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like my sisters go to college. Like everybody in my family pretty much has a degree or is getting one, and I'm kind of just like, that's not for me.
Yeah. And it's amazing that we can live in a world where it's not as like necessary of a thing anymore. There's plenty of people that are just making their way through the world that just never had a degree. And by all means, like I'm
Hmm.
all for it. If anything, I want to expand those kind of or do my part to like expand those efforts because there's so much information and just free tools and people out there that are also working in that space that just don't want that life for themselves for one reason or another. Like for me personally, I see people in my family or friends and how their jobs are affecting them, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like the amount of pressure that that puts on your life, which then affects
Hmm.
the life of everyone around you. I understand the benefits of it. You got a stable wage, okay, like decent salary, sure, but is it really worth everything that's tied to it?
But most of the time, it's just because they listen to somebody else and they listen to their input on how to make their life better. But that other person isn't you. So how do they know what's best for you?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's never been better to be that kind of a person to just kind of branch out in your own path. Like, yeah, there's gonna be like cultural pressure and social pressure from the people around you, but at the end of the day, internet is limitless. There's people
Oh
all
yeah.
over the globe that are doing this exact same thing. You can get a like certification in various things online. You don't even have to attend it. Harvard puts out like a bunch of free classes so that just about anyone can attend them.
Hmm.
I actually, bit of a funny story. I thought that I had this crazy stupid idea of applying for Harvard when I was in high school. At the last minute too. Like I took the SATs and everything. Easily like one of the more like stressful things I've ever done in my life for just the dumbest of reasons. Because there's this movie of like this girl who I think she was an orphan and she ended up attending Harvard on like a full ride scholarship or something because of her SAT scores, and she had like a younger brother that she looked after, and she had to volunteer, just like you know, burning both ends of the candle. But after seeing it, I was like, oh hell yeah, if she could do it, so can I. Nope, nope,
Denied.
denied. I don't even think I ended up applying. I think I just did the SATs that I got the score back,
You
and I
just
was like,
looked at
yeah,
the.
they're not letting me in.
That's hilarious.
uh,
I don't even think
yeah,
I applied to any colleges.
right on, man. Hey, look at you now. You got your own brand. Got
I
your own
know.
platform that you're building.
Pretty cool. I love it, which is a good thing. Most people can't really say that.
Yeah, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to have the ability to say like not only like do I love my job, but that it also the success of everything that I'm doing, it depends on me and me alone and the quality of my work.
Hmm.
Like that's one of the things that I find so attractive about like the artist lifestyle is that you make things in the hope that there's an audience for them, and eventually it snowballs if your stuff is good enough, and then one day you just find, okay, I don't have to worry about rent as much anymore, or I can actually, reinvest some of the money that I'm getting and put it back into my work or what have you. Just there's so much more freedom that it affords you.
Hmm. And you're just able to be creative. I know so many people that work and they can't be creative. They get shunned for.
What do you mean by shun for it?
In terms of like, how do I explain it? I know a few people that like do their so they have like a regular job, and then they'll suggest, hey, start making social media content, or hey, do this for marketing, or hey, if we do this we can make more money. And then there's a lot of old school people that are just like, no, that's stupid, or no, I don't understand it, or
Mm,
they just don't understand the value that they can get from it.
mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people that cap their employees' potential just because they don't allow anything new.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You get into like some kind of a position where the amount of freedom that you have for, well, any just about anything like creative or otherwise, it's just limited because like this is the title of your job, this is what you're responsible for.
Hmm.
It's very limiting in that way. Like unless you work for a startup, like most companies are not going to have that much leeway unless you're like a creative director or something. And even then, the creative director is like he's tied to the investors and the chairman of the board and all these other people, the marketing team and all that. It's very
Yeah,
restrictive in
there's a
that
lot of
way.
hoops that you have to go through.
Yeah, and then office politics, which I'm working my way right now to like to get out of that 9 to 5 because it is
Hmm.
absolutely just like no end to the amount of depression that it gives me when I'm there. Because when I get to do stuff like this is what I love to do, right? Like
Hmm.
I love having conversations with artists like yourself, and if I could make a living doing something like this, then yeah, I'm all for it. Whatever I got to
You're
do
all
to get
for it,
there,
yeah.
yeah, whatever I got to do to get there. Because anytime that I'm not
You
doing
have to
this,
go.
and
You have to go through all these things to get to the position that you want to be in.
hmm
Just part of the game. Part of the game.
yeah. But no, I love it. I'm optimistic. Even with the shit day job that I got, I know that if people like yourself have made it, and people that have also interviewed before are making it in their own way and creating something of their own, then it just like once again like reminds me like yeah, it's possible. Not only is it
Hmm.
possible, it's happening. It's actively happening. There's millions of people doing this exact same thing online.
Yeah.
Right on. So what's on the horizon for you? What are you working on next? Anything that you can share?
That's a good question. I'd say for right now, in terms of graphic design, I want to build a new style. A new style is the main priority. And then, as well as just teaching people, showing people what I do, and really just allowing others to make artwork with me. So, main goal is finding a new style for myself, as well as just teaching everybody the things that I've learned so that they can jump into graphic design themselves and do what I do, which I love. So, really open a way for newer designers to just maybe even make a living off of this and like have fun. And then in terms of the clothing brand, I think I want to prioritize that a little more just because I know the potential it has and what it's doing right now. So I think for now, just that. I've gotten a few offers from clothing brands to work for them full time,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm kind of hesitant on it because it'll take away from my own vision and like what I want to do with Louis Cetus, what I want to do with Recluse. So I'm actually thinking on that as well, just because they are really good brands and like I love the owners and like they're just amazing people, but you also have to think about, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to create? What do I want to make? And for big projects, there's a lot of projects that I can't say just because they're like with like artists, and their whole label thing is a whole different thing.
Hmm.
Because it's like you have to sign an NDA, and then you can't say this or you can't say that. You can only say it when it's dropped, or it's the whole thing. I'd say working with artists is probably something that I don't really like. I
Oh,
love working with certain artists, but if I have to deal with their like management, that's usually like a gray area because there's a lot of requirements per se.
okay. Interesting. So you find that like a lot of the artists that that reach out to you or their team, otherwise, like there's a lot of management involved because like everyone that I've spoken to, at least on this show, is like independent. They manage themselves. I didn't realize that like artists had agents.
They have like managers, and it's like most of the sometimes you don't even talk to the artist. So
Huh?
it's like, not all of them. I'm not saying all of them, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
quite a few, and then it's just unpleasant to work with.
Interesting. I wonder what purpose like. Okay, so I guess like what the manager like opens up the network and they allow the artist to just focus on the art instead of having to worry about like collecting fees or dealing with commissions and whatnot. Because I'd imagine it's a lot to juggle
Yeah.
at once.
And then it's like merch design things. I don't know, but it's just not pleasant at times. But there's a lot of artists that I do like want to work with and things like that.
Okay. Interesting. And in terms of the commissions, do you find that is there one like or any like trends that you've noticed of like where it comes from? Is it just like mostly like bands and whatnot that just like need cover art or
There's a lot of people that need cover art, yes, but my main thing is like clothing brands. So it's like they need logos, they need merch design, they need mock-ups, they need tech packs, they need ad creatives. So my main clientele is probably like clothing brands.
interesting? Okay. So like is it just like indie clothing brands or you have like major labels also reaching out?
A bit of both, really. Yeah.
Okay. And
And
then
I
so
I'd say I have, what was that?
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'd say I like working with clothing brands a little more just because I love making clothes. It's always fun because you make this digital thing, you make this digital mock-up, and then like a few months later you actually see the final product. You see the final product and you're like, "Oh shit, I made that."
Right on. And when you do these collabs, do they still like they'll like feature your name on it or is it just like on a case by case basis?
Case by case. But most people don't really share the designer, which is, I mean, at this point you kind of just understand that as a designer. But there are a lot of people that do like tag you in your work and things like that. But a lot of people just like gatekeep it because it's like, oh, I don't want you to steal my designer. It's the whole thing.
Okay. That's an interesting way of going about it, I guess. I mean, I they don't own like the designer, like they just pay them the
Yeah.
commission or what have you, like unless they work for their team, like that's a whole other thing, but
Hmm.
interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that there were so many clothing brands out there that would be like operating in this space. I mean, I'm not fully informed on it as well. Which, like, funny enough, I Outsider Supply, we are a clothing brand, but like this, all the
Yeah.
designs that we do, they're all made like in house,
Hmm.
by the creative team there. Um, interesting. That's okay. So I'm just trying to understand this. So what's the point of having a clothing brand if you're not actually like the one that's making the designs? Is it just like you're trying to capitalize on something? Like why would you outsource that? Wouldn't you have someone that's part of like the team that created this whole idea that actually knows like how to design stuff? I'm having a hard time like seeing like why would you outsource that to someone else?
a lot of people want to make clothes, but they don't have the skills that like a designer has
Hmm.
because they have something in their head, but whenever they try to make it, it's just not good because they don't have the years of experience. They don't understand hierarchy. They don't understand how to make a proper logo. They don't know what a good design is. They just see a photo on Pinterest, drag it into Photoshop, hit threshold, put that on a t-shirt, and hey, give me money. No. When you start a clothing brand, there's a lot of things that you have to freaking there's a lot that you have to learn. First, you need to understand marketing. You need to understand how to build a brand identity. You need to be able to understand Photoshop because you need to make clothing or you need to make a mood board for your designers or things of that nature. And then you also have to think about production and your manufacturing.
Hmm.
And then there's just a lot that goes into it where paying a designer, number one, you get a better product. You get someone else's perspective on it with years of experience, and it it's better because most of these people are so focused on the marketing aspect of things they don't have time to design it because designing it takes a lot of time. And when you're doing clothing brand things, the main part that you're really going to have to focus on when you're building a clothing brand is your marketing. Because yes, designs are cool and they help your brand a lot and the product matters a lot, but your main thing is going to be your ability to market it. Because you can make the best t-shirt in the entire world, but if nobody sees it, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And you can also make the worst t-shirt in the world, but if your marketing is A1, everybody's going to buy it. It's just the way I see things is clothing brand requires way more marketing than an actual really good product. You probably see so many clothing brands with terrible products, but they sell out because their marketing is amazing. So people outsource designs because number one, it's easier, less time consuming, where it allows them more time to actually market, which is going to be their main issue. It's just marketing. And then they just get a better product overall. And a lot of these people don't actually have experience with Photoshop, Illustrator. So they don't know how to make a proper logo. They don't know how to make proper ad creatives that convert. Most of most of these clothing brand owners actually end up outsourcing their ads. They outsource their designers. They outsource like how to properly market just because you want to be able to hire someone that knows what they're doing.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like the type of marketing that we do, like there's a whole team set up for it, just because like the main focus is like on making the actual like good design. So when we do have a drop, it's been it's something that's been in the works for a very 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 long time, and there's so much emphasis that's put on actually making something good that we just need some help every now and then of someone else like coming along and picking up the effort. So that makes sense. And especially if you're
Mhm.
more of like an ideas person, but you just don't have the technical skill of Photoshop or what have you, yeah, being able to lighten that load with somebody else, that definitely certainly makes sense. Because I'd imagine there's quite a bit of work. Like it's like you said, it's not a matter of just like cutting and pasting into Pinterest. Like this is something that takes years to develop. Because like that's primarily why I had to stop using Photoshop for just for my own purposes. Just it's way too it's way too complicated, man. I can't. I have to use GIMP.
Really,
Yeah, I have to use GIMP for like any of the work that I do.
Mhm. I love Photoshop. That's pretty much the only application I use. Of course, I draw on the tablet and like do Procreate if like I'm making a logo or something like that, or like Illustrator if I'm making logos as well. But in terms of any other application, I don't really use anything. I don't even use the desktop. I have a whole desktop setup, but I just use my laptop because I want to go work on the couch or I want to go work in the kitchen
Hmm.
or I want to work outside or literally I could just go anywhere and work. I've never used GIMP. What is it exactly?
It's like a free version of Photoshop. So like the layout is actually it's quite similar to Photoshop, but like for my purposes, like if I'm making like let's say I just need like a simple like icon for the podcast episode, or I just need like just something drawn up real quick, I use it instead. But the layout is like fairly similar. You just have all your tools on the left, and then the actual layers on the right. So it still has like those same kind of capabilities, but I find it's a lot quicker to use. At least for my purposes. So this is like a free tool that comes with Linux, which is like an operating system. So you have like Windows, Apple, and then Linux is like a tertiary or like a third party kind of system. Usually comes free with the installs. The app is totally free too. So people that are like, I don't want to pay for Photoshop, but I also don't want to pirate or torrent anything. GIMP is probably like the
Hmm.
easiest thing that you can get your hands on.
I've heard about GIMP, but I've never used it.
Yeah,
I'll
it
never
has the same
I'll
tools.
never stray away from my Photoshop.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've had to transition from the video editing on Photoshop though, from the Adobe Premiere Pro for these podcasts to
Hmm.
something called I think it's called DaVinci.
Oh
It,
yeah, yeah.
it's like the video editor that they use in Hollywood. Highly recommend it, honestly. I do not appreciate how much processing power Adobe Premiere Pro takes compared to DaVinci. It's just so much easier, especially when you're scrolling through like 3 hours of a show. Um,
Oh
but
my
yeah,
god.
GIMP is no, GIMP is great. Highly recommended. It's very lightweight, so it's like great to use on like older systems. But yeah, as you can see, like you can still like select individual layers or like what have you. Like you can still do the exact same thing that Photoshop does, and
That's cool.
it works across every format. So whether or not like wherever you made the file, it'll take the image and you'll be able to use it. Just about every like format. So it's very universal in that way as well.
I'd have to look into it actually.
Yeah, highly recommend it. It's a great thing. I'm all for open source. Like I don't even have like a Microsoft Office license. I use something called LibreOffice, which is basically the same thing. The layout is slightly different, but it's you can use it for like files on a Mac or files like based in Windows and what have you. Um,
Hmm.
those tools are just they're so much more flexible. I find, and plus, like I don't want to pay the license fee. Like I don't have an extra $200 that I could just throw around like for like one version of Microsoft Office that'll get updated the next year. Like, screw that, man.
It's a tax write-off, so it's like any Adobe Photoshop thing. Just pay for it.
Oh, true, true, true. Well, I mean, I'm on the team, but I don't know because they're based in America, so like doing that with the Canadian tax, I
uh,
don't know how that would work. I think it's a little bit more
mhm.
tricky, but yeah, regardless. No, I love it. There's no end to like the amount of free tools out there for any digital creators. Like the platform I'm using to stream this is free for anyone to use. OBS, it's great for screen recording, especially. I remember growing up trying to like work out screen recordings for YouTube videos, and
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
like what was
It
it
was
called?
terrible.
Forget the name of the software, but it always had like a little tag, like it was yellow, had the FPS counter on the top
Oh,
right.
dude, I know what you're talking about.
Uh,
What is it?
It's like an old like that's when you see like the YouTube videos that have the intro song "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
No, it's not Free Cam. No, I'm not gonna remember it, but yeah, you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, no, it's not gonna come up, but yeah, like OBS, also yet another great tool if you're looking to like capture footage for editing or like showing people your process and whatnot. Very easy to
Hmm.
use. Like to set it up, I plug in my system specs into like ChatGPT and I tell it based on these system specs, give me a detailed breakdown of how I can set it up so that it uses my hardware to the best of my ability. And then I don't have to spend hours reading the fucking manual. I don't have to go on like forums and try to do
Yeah.
none of that. I want a streamlined way so that you can just immediately just plug that in. Easy peasy.
Hmm. I completely forgot what we were just talking about now.
I have no clue. We were talking about like
Oh,
clothing design and whatnot. What was
yeah.
it?
Why clothing brands want to hire a designer?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much just easier. And plus, most of these people, no, I think I've said that already. But I see a lot of DMs where they send me their artwork and they're just like, "Hey, can you recreate this but better?" So they want to just pretty much redo what they just made and made it more professional.
Mhm.
Or there's a lot of people that come to you specifically for your style, where it's like, okay, I can't make this. I want to pay you to make this, but in your style, and which sets you apart from other designers because it's they come to you. I know I've gotten quite a few DMs where it's like, hey, I want a logo, or hey, I want this design, or hey, I want this album cover. And there's some times where I just can't accept it because my schedule's full. So I'll try to recommend them to a different designer. And then they're like, no, I want you because I want your style. So it's like, oh, okay. So there's another thing right there where it's like they came to you because of your style, the way you make things, and your vision.
Yeah, and that's where that part is when we said earlier in the show where building your own personal brand, it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you because you don't have to
Oh,
like
yeah.
you don't have to go through this like awkward introductory phase of like this is my style, this is what I do. It's like no, just peep my socials. You'll see exactly what I make, and if you like it, by all means hit me up.
And there's a lot of people that recreate like the whole Y2K thing or like
Hmm.
Hellstar, but they don't have longevity because they're just chasing this trend that eventually is just going to run out. Sure, it's going to take time to create your own style, but in the long run, that's going to do you way better than chasing these little trends where it's like you're making a Y2K logo or you're making a Hellstar design or a big face tee or a whole bunch of other stuff where there's no longevity in it. And I'd say you're probably doing your clients bad because you know that it's trendy and you know that's not what makes a brand. What makes a brand is their identity, what they stand for, what their brand represents, the aesthetics, and things of that nature.
Mm.
Like, there's a lot of commissions that I actually end up declining because they come to me, hey, make me a Hellstar design. And I tell them no. And they're like, wait, why? And they literally like talk to me, hey, like, you want my money? You know, I'm like, of course, give me it. But but before anything, I want to make sure that what I give you is actually good for you because there's a lot of information where it's like they take advice from other clothing brand designers like, yeah, steal designs, steal this, steal that. But you look at their brand, it's like, do you really want their brand as well? No, when you make something, make it yours, or else it's not even your brand. Why are you starting a brand if it's not yours? You're just copying Hellstar. You're just copying all of these other Instagram brands. Where's your creative freedom? You made this thing, but you're ruining it because you're not making anything.
Yeah, and as you said, that doesn't last. Like unless you're literally going to open up
Hmm.
like a clothing store, it's like flipping memes on shirts or what have you. Like that's not really there's not much there you can do in the market. And then also your idea is just going to die out because you don't have like there's no creative input there. It's just
Yeah.
you're trying to catch a wave, but that wave isn't going to last forever. So what are you going to have when it's over?
Like for my clothing brand, I just started this like new brand ambassador like thing, but it's
Hmm.
like this is my way of actually creating a community. Like in our Discord, we're making designs right now where it's just staff stuff where it's like the normal person isn't gonna have these recluse pieces because our ambassadors are part of our brand now. So it's kind of it gives a sense of exclusivity. So it's like, hey, I'm actually a part of this brand. I'm a part of this community. Instead of just looking online, it's like every other clothing brand. It's like, yeah, it's a cool shirt. I'll buy it. Compare that to, hey, I'm getting exclusive items specifically made for me and what I like, and the community that I'm in partakes in the creation of the design. Hell yeah, where you're actually a part of this brand instead of just repping a logo on a tee.
Yeah, that would also get a lot of people to buy into it because now, as you said, like they're a part of it. So there's something to be gained there besides just the monetary value. There's like a
Yeah.
collaborative spirit there.
Hmm. I
Right on.
think I think I just opened it. I think it's been about a week. I think I only have around 100 ambassadors, but like for a week, that's not bad.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And is it just like influencers that you found that you've liked, or
Not just influencers, but like pretty much anybody. Just because I want to be able to actually build a brand with people that actually support it. So right now, I don't have any like you have to have 100,000 followers. No, I just want the people that actually love and support the brand to be in it, so we can create this big thing together. That way, it's actually a community based on people supporting and liking the brand rather than me going to influencers. Hey, here's this code. You'll get 30% of every sale you give me. They make a post, they make their money, but they don't care. They don't actually care about the brand. They're just caring about the money that they're going to make.
interesting? And you've already gotten 100 people in the week. That's pretty damn good, man.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, main focus for the brand is just like creating a community behind it.
Right on. Do you guys have any like events that you want to do, or is it just like clothing in the meantime?
Just clothing in the meantime. Eventually, I will make, or like I'll do pop up or something like that. But right now, not the time. Not the time. Just wait. Just wait.
Yeah, pop-ups would be cool. Um, or even like collabs with other artists. Because let me see. There's this one artist that I think you might already be following him, but let me see here. Yeah, this guy right here. Have you seen any of his stuff before?
It's loading. 1 second. Who's that? Oh, I think I've seen his work.
Yeah, he makes like
I don't
custom
think I follow
jewelry,
him. Mm,
which is very reminiscent of like some of the pieces that you've had. I figured it'd be right up your alley. Like he
hmm.
makes his own ads and everything as well.
I want to get into jewelry eventually. Like I do make jewelry for other brands, but I haven't really made any jewelry for my brand or like for myself yet. But I do really want to get into like making a crazy piece because those are sick.
Yeah, it's just like something as simple as a carabiner, but like he's clearly put in a lot
Hmm.
of effort into it. I don't know how he does it, what his process is of like doing the molding or casting or what have you, but yeah, trying to get him on the show to see if he can talk more about it, or she. Actually, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl that runs the account, but yeah, the aesthetic is unrivaled. They
Oh
they make
yeah,
some fantastic pieces on the timeline. I always love to see them.
yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, or even like small rings like that. Not even like major pieces, just something a little bit more mini.
Hmm. But like you can tell he puts hours into his craft.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly, undoubtedly. Like the whole aesthetic, like everything about it is just you can tell that it's very carefully thought through. And once again, like these look like magazine covers or like ads that you'd see like early 2000s, late 90s type shit.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, that's great to hear, man. That's great to hear that you're building out a community. Um, and yeah, 100 people in a week. That's bro, that's fucking awesome. Imagine like try to get like 5 of your friends to like agree to like a road trip or something. Like getting 100 people, so
Freaking
that it makes
10
it.
years later, nothing.
Yeah, yeah. So that it actually makes it out the group chat. That's not nothing, man.
Hmm.
That's quite the effort. So I'm glad to hear that you're finding a lot of success in this realm. Um, if you're good with it, I was thinking of wrapping up here in a bit.
Yeah, that works.
Perfect. So in terms of socials where people can find you, it's just Luisidas across all your platforms there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, look out for more drops, more content, more new pieces, new style. Looking forward to seeing that.
Oh yeah. It's coming. It's coming.
But yeah, man, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on the show to tell your story. It's once again, as I said at the beginning, getting exposed to stuff like this reminds me that it's not only is it possible, but that it's very profitable if not just like money wise, but just like quality of life wise to go it your own way and not ignore, but not take others' advice over your own ideas of what your life should look like. Because at the
Yeah,
end,
choosing your own way to live.
yeah, because at the other end of that is something that you never thought would be possible, and yet gives you so much more flexibility with what you want to do and more freedom to do even more creative things.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I'm glad to hear that that it's worked out for you. That you guys are pushing on full steam ahead. So yeah, that's at Luicidas Luicidas on Twitter and elsewhere. Thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate it once again.
Thank you for having me.
I know you got a busy schedule and 1 hour of sleep. You fucking madman. I don't know how you do it.
That's just every designer. I swear it's every designer. I don't get creative until like 2 in the morning. That's when I do all my best work.
Okay.
I don't really work in the daytime. It's just it doesn't hit the same. But at night everything's silent. I'm listening to my music. I have a Red Bull, I have some Neuromints, I have some other caffeine. That's just the best time to design. 100%.
Yeah, right on. I actually I feel the same way. Whenever I have to like make edits and whatnot, I hate doing it during the day or like writing out any like articles or pieces I'm working on, because at night it's just like there's no, so we're not listening to like traffic. I'm not listening to anything. It's just dead silent. I come out for a smoke and there's nobody on the street. It's like the perfect time to be alone with your
Hmm.
thoughts.
And you just think differently at that time.
Yeah, yeah. You're not as burdened by it. Like your phone's not blowing up. No family members calling you. Like nobody's texting you. Like it's just you got your own little slice of life right there.
Hmm.
Right on. Well, hey man, would love to have you back on the show if you got like an exposition or a new drop coming on. Would love to feature it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right on. But yeah, man. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Not sure when we're doing next interview. Possibly looks like this coming Thursday, but keep the socials. We'll keep everything there. And yeah, man. Thanks again for coming on. It was a great time.
See ya. Thank you.